Hi guys, so for this video, I'm going to teach you how to conduct reliability test. Okay, so first, you need to have your data. Okay, like the Excel part where you should have encoded all the data from the demographics up until the answers of the respondents. So that is the very basic thing that we need. The second one is the statistical software. So in this video, I'm going to show you how we're going to use jamovi in reliability testing or reliability analysis. Okay, and our presumed title for this video is Study Habits and Learning Satisfaction of Buaya Senior High School Students. Okay, just for the sake of example. Okay, and we need also to remember this one, the Cronbach's alpha. Okay, this is table. You can also pause it here. You can also find it somewhere else. Okay, so let's go back with our title. Okay, that is our title, and now I'm going to show you here. This is our Excel. So as you can see, it is already arranged. So the column headings, this one, the first row, these are our column headings. First one is our sex, the grade. Okay, so it's in sex, you can just write there the male, male, female, and for the grade, what grade it is. And then here, this would represent the questions that will be reflected in our survey questionnaire. Let's say for example, A1 is the first question, A2 is the second question, and A3 is the third question for the first indicator. Okay, for the first indicator. And then B1, B2, and B3 along with B4 are our 4 questions for our second indicator. Okay, and then we have C1, C2, C3 will be our first indicator for the second variable, and the D1, D2, D3, D4 will be our second indicator for the second variable. Okay, don't worry, I'm going to pop up it in the screen later. So if you have not yet downloaded the jamovi, you have to download it so that you can be familiar as to what we will be using. So right now I'm opening the jamovi. Right. Okay, so this is our jamovi. Okay, this is how it looks, and we can actually type our data here if we want to. Just type our data there manually, but we don't want to do that. So instead, we're going to open our Excel that we have made earlier. So where is our file? Just going to open it. Okay. It means that it is in use. So let me just close it. Okay. So you can now open this one, and upon clicking open, you can see that it is already imported here. So as you can see, we already have the data here, the sex, the grade, as well as our other details for our questions. Alright, and before that, I'm going to show you, okay, what should it look like. So here we are, measures. I named it table 3, but it should be according to you. The result and interpretation of reliability test. So it should look like this. Okay, so in study habits, we have 2 indicators there. We have the time management and the study environment. And for the learning satisfaction, we have the course content satisfaction and the assessment satisfaction. So we have 2 indicators for each variable. And then I already had a template here. You can actually copy this one, or I can also put it in the description. We are going to put the Cronbach alpha here. How many number of items do we have, and what will be its interpretation? The interpretation can be collected based from the table that I have shown you earlier. So we are going to put the Cronbach alpha only for each indicator, not for each variable. Okay, so let me clear with that. Let me be clear with that. Okay, so let's do this. So let's go back to our jamovi. So let us click the factor here. So under analysis tab, click factor, and then let's click reliability analysis. So for this one, I will have the A1, A2, A3. Okay, so I'm going to move it there. Click this right button, and make sure that you have checked the Cronbach's alpha, and it should appear here on the right what would be the value of the Cronbach alpha for our first indicator. So as you can see, the Cronbach's alpha is 0.703. Alright, and that will be our first indicator. And remember that our first indicator is time management. So I'm going to write here 0.703. Okay, and I had, how many items we have for that one? We only have 3 items for that indicator. Okay, and next one, is the study environment. So for the study environment, all right, you can highlight it, items, you should go back there, and then we will have B1 to B3. Okay, so here on the right side, oh, I forgot the B4. Okay. So that is 0.729. Okay, so the Cronbach's alpha is 0.729. So 0.729. Okay, and the number of items is 4. We have 4 questions for those. Okay, next. It is important, guys. Okay, let me have it again. It's important that our Cronbach's alpha should not be less than 0.7, okay, because we should only be in this acceptable region. We should have an acceptable internal consistency, because if we will fall below 0.7, then it will be questionable. We can actually do that, but your panel might ask you some difficult questions when I do that, so I'm trying to avoid it. Okay, let's continue. So we will have C1 to C3. This will be my first indicator for my second variable. Okay, my second variable is learning satisfaction. So here, you can see here on the right, my Cronbach's alpha is 0.703. So I'm going to put it here 0.703. I have 3 items for that. And the assessment satisfaction, okay. So let me have the assessment satisfaction. That would be B1 to, okay, I have 4 questions for that. My Cronbach's is 0.729. 0.729. Okay, I have 4 questions. Okay, now for the interpretation, let us go to our table. The interpretation here is it is acceptable. Okay, so it is acceptable, which means it is reliable. Okay, yeah, reliable. Now how do we work it out? Okay, so here table 3, what is the name of the table, presents the results of the reliability test of the research instrument using Cronbach's alpha. The blank indicator, that will be our first indicator, which is the time management. Okay, the time management indicator under study habits. Okay, under what variable? Under study habits, obtain a Cronbach's alpha value of 0.703, indicating what kind of internal consistency was that? Acceptable. Okay, indicating acceptable internal consistency. Okay, next, the study environment indicator yielded an alpha value of 0.729, which is also considered as acceptable, which is also considered reliable. Okay, and of course you can also add other 2 indicators. Just copy those, like the CCS, okay, but you need to spell it out. The course content satisfaction indicator under learning satisfaction, okay, has a Cronbach's alpha value of 0.703, which indicates acceptable internal consistency. The assessment satisfaction, which is still under learning satisfaction, also has an alpha. It's an alpha of 0.729, which also is reliable, or you can also have the terms acceptable internal consistency. So overall, all indicators exceeded, kasi sumobra na siya ng 0.7, exceeded the minimum acceptable threshold of 0.7, indicating that the instrument is reliable for data collection. So, ganyan na kasimple, guys. Okay? So, don't forget also to save those, tanungin kayo ng mga ano. Okay? Ciao.